Allora, visto che non so mai niente, adesso che cosa sta per succedere, Cosmano?
Ora, cosa succede? Uno dei temi centrali di questi 3 giorni è l'intelligenza artificiale.
Certo.
E ci parlerà esattamente di questo il prossimo ospite, che è Gianluca Misuraca. Lasciamo il palco a Gianluca, è tutto tuo.
Buongiorno Rimini. So, I'm Gianluca Misuraca, and if you were here this morning during the opening speech of Professor Manuel Castells, he said, I'm a social scientist and I'm not a futurist. Well, I'm a social scientist too, but I am especially a futurist. And today, I want to bring you into the future. Because, first of all, I want to thank also the organizer, Cosmano, and the We Make Future, because today is actually a crossroads, because AI, artificial intelligence, is becoming somehow popularized. Everybody knows or thinks to know what is AI. What we don't know is what is human-centric artificial intelligence, that, again, everybody quite rhetorically, I would say, is talking about without necessarily knowing what he's talking about. So let me start from the future and share with you briefly some scenarios about Digital Europe 2040 that I did when I was leading research for the European Commission Joint Research Center, and then briefly discuss the trilemma of governance of, with, and by artificial intelligence. Digital sovereignty and technology diplomacy are the keywords we should address today in the current complex and very turbulent geopolitical landscape. And then we go back to the future and we try to see briefly what is human-centric AI, as we do have finally, as of last week, a definition. So, shaping the future. We don't have time here today, but what we have been doing actually in between the pandemic in 2020 with a number of experts from Europe and worldwide, we have been trying to think what are the key issues to address for the future of the digital world to be, let's say, successful and human-centric. And clearly, there are different scenarios, and the future will not look like a specific scenario that we have imagined 2 years ago or 4 years ago, but is actually a mix of it. But clearly, tomorrow, we will have the honor to have here Sir Tim Berners-Lee. And so one of the scenarios that we imagine, we hope, will become again possible is what was actually the quintessential dream of the innovators like Tim Berners-Lee and others, that actually somehow had an utopian view of the internet to promote the building of an open, democratic, and sustainable digital society, something that we do not have now, many years after the internet was created and the World Wide Web established. Now, that's why we need to address what I call the governance of, with, and by AI, because policymakers worldwide are a bit lost. They don't know what to do. They have, on one side, they have to protect the citizens. On the other side, they want to use this technology, try to make sure that exactly we can harness their power. That's why we need to look carefully at the digital landscape, the regulatory aspects. And just yesterday, as you may know, the European Parliament has adopted the final resolution for the Artificial Intelligence Act. Tomorrow we will have a panel here with also Brando Benifei and others that is the co-rapporteur, who is the co-rapporteur of this act at the European Parliament, and we will discuss this because this is timely now to convince the member states to implement this act. But also there is the use of this technology by public sector and private organizations that at the moment is a bit in the far west. But of course we cannot, let's say, block innovation. Actually, we need to unleash this innovation to the benefit of society. And also, somehow let it go, because the beauty of these technologies, or this set of technology, this ensemble of methodologies and technology, is that they can learn by themselves, like ChatGPT, for instance, and they can also do things that we humans are not capable to do much better than we do. And actually also relieve us, save us from work and activities that are not so interesting, and actually augment our cognitive capacities. Now, as I said, the digital sovereignty and technology diplomacy are two sides of the same coin. That is the global governance of artificial intelligence, that we need to fix it now, as we are already at least 20 years later. Now, in a conference just in the middle of the pandemic, I actually raised the question of how we can ensure digital resilience and collective well-being, while also safeguarding the liberal democracy and individual rights, that exactly because of the pandemic, and thanks to certain technology, has been somehow put at risk. Even very democratic countries, and there are few in the world, were actually showing a sign of weakness when it comes to control the citizens, and also, of course, not being able to govern artificial intelligence with artificial intelligence, and also using their power. And as Luciano Floridi, that by the way is next door as he's teaching these days in Bologna, said in a very nice paper, there is a fight, there is a war about digital sovereignty around the world, and this is somehow like the controversy, the investiture controversy, that no matter you were religious or not at the time, the result of it would have affected everybody in the world. That's what's going to happen with the governance of artificial intelligence at the global level. Cass Sunstein, already in 2005, said, well, you know, we have to consider the precautionary principle. When negative side effects offset the risk avoided, precaution can be turned on its head. So it is precautionary not to intervene. So we don't do anything. We block, for instance, ChatGPT or other technologies, or we just let them go. So, of course, we need to find a balance for that, and that's why we need to define and take action at the policy, at the research, and also at the local level, at the global level, from the society, on human-centric AI. But as I said, what are we talking about? Okay, humans must be in control. Humans need to be informed. They also have to somehow let's say, take advantage of this technology. But there's not yet a definition of this. So as part of another activity, I have the honor to lead the International Outreach for Human-Centric Artificial Intelligence. That is an initiative of the European Union to promote the European approach, so the European democratic principles and values across the world, with like-minded countries in particular. We have jointly with the US government, as part of the Trade and Technology Council, and a big thanks to my colleague and friend Gry Hasselbalch, that actually has been instrumental in this negotiation, together with the colleagues of the European Commission, of course, is an initial definition of the term out of 60 terms that has been defined and presented 2 weeks ago in Lulea during the summit between the US and the EU. So this is defined as an approach that prioritizes human ethical responsibility, dynamic qualities, understanding, and meaning. And you can read it. The important here is the democratic values, the human rights, and the sustainable development principle that are actually embedded in the Treaty of the European Union. And this is where we have to also be somehow proud of what we have built across the last 50 years. And this morning, the opening video was very inspiring, as it was showing exactly how humans, unfortunately, commit always the same mistakes. And we are now in a war, in several wars across the world, and artificial intelligence can help us, of course, solve some of the challenges at the global level, but also, if we don't manage the risks, actually be a weapon in the hands of people that are not so good as we hope. Last week, on Saturday, I went to a concert of Bob Dylan in Seville, the city where I'm living since 15 years now. And I remembered, although he was presenting his new album, one quote I was used already 20 years ago, trying to show that times are changing. And indeed, this is the message that politicians around the world should take home every night and try to make something in the morning to make things change. And clearly, artificial intelligence is capable of augmenting human capacities and for the good, but only if ethically mastered. So thanks a lot. And as I said, we're just starting the journey into the future of human-centric AI. I wish you a safe journey. Thank you.